So today we're going to dive deep into the mind of a self-made billionaire, Savji Dalakia. But here's the thing, this isn't just going to be his life story. We've actually broken it down into a blueprint, a kind of training program really, built from the real-world success of one of India's most incredible entrepreneurs. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's just start with a number, because this one, it really puts things into perspective. 1,260. That's the number of cars Savji Dalakia has actually gifted to his employees as bonuses over the years. And we're not talking about just the top execs here. We're talking about hardworking members of his entire team. And that kind of thinking? Well, this is the result. His company, Hari Krishna Exports, now pulls in an annual turnover of over 7,000 crore rupees. That's about 840 million US dollars. Just incredible. So you gotta ask, right? How does a kid from a small village who started his career polishing diamonds for just 179 rupees a month go on to build an empire like this? Well, the answer really lies in a few powerful yet super simple secrets. So let's break them down. The first secret, and honestly, this is the foundation for everything else, is his absolute belief in the power of visualization. And I mean, this isn't just some fuzzy, wishful thinking for him, it's a concrete, actionable strategy. And here's the proof. Get this. Way back in 2002, when his company was doing about 100 crore in business, he physically sat down and wrote out a detailed plan for the next 25 years. He set these huge, clear goals in 5-year chunks, and then he just went out and systematically hit every single one of them. It's like he literally wrote his own future into existence. And if you want to know just how deep his conviction goes, listen to this. He visualized the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, attending his son's wedding. Now, at that time, that was a completely impossible dream, right? But he held on to that vision, he acted as if it was going to happen, and, well, it did. It all boils down to his core belief, which he puts in these simple words. What we think is what happens. When he finally got around to reading the book The Secret, he had this realization that he'd been instinctively doing this stuff his entire life. The book didn't really teach him anything new, it just put a name to what was already his reality. All right, so that's the big picture mindset. Now let's move on to the second secret, because this is all about how he puts that mindset into practice every single day. It's a simple set of personal mantras he keeps right on his desk. These 5 lines are basically his daily operating system. I am the best isn't about ego. It's about pushing himself to be the absolute best version of himself. I can do it is pure self-belief. God is always with me? Well, that's his moral compass. I am the winner helps him shake off any failure. And my favorite, today is my new day. Make sure he's always focused on the now, not the past. Okay, so let's get to the one you've probably heard about. Secret number 3. Why on earth does this man give away so many cars? This goes right back to what we were talking about at the very beginning. You see, most companies look at employee gifts as a business cost, right? It's just an expense that eats into the profits. But Dalakia, he flips that script completely. For him, these gifts aren't a cost at all. They're the single most powerful investment he can make in his people, creating a kind of loyalty and family atmosphere you just can't buy. And this isn't some new PR stunt either. I mean, think about this. Way back in 1995, long before he was a billionaire, he gifted 3 cars to his employees. But here's the kicker. The cars he gave them were actually better than the old Fiat he was driving himself. That's just wild. So, what was the return on that investment? What happened to those 3 employees? They never left. They became lifelong partners, dedicating their entire careers to building the company right alongside him. Now that is the power of putting your people first. He tells this one story that really is the emotional peak of his whole philosophy. He invited all of his employees and their families to this huge event. And during the event, they started calling out the names of 491 employees who had qualified for a brand new car, asking them to come up on stage. But here's the key. It was a total surprise. Nobody knew it was coming. They were called up there in front of their husbands, their wives, their kids, and right in front of all their colleagues who hadn't qualified. He said he saw tears of pure joy from the winners, and something totally different in the eyes of everyone else. It wasn't jealousy. It was determination. And seeing that moment just cemented everything for him. It's summed up perfectly in this quote. The joy of giving is greater than that of receiving. That one event motivated his entire workforce. The next year, 1,200 employees qualified for a car. The year after that, 1700. It just created this incredible, powerful cycle of success. So after hearing all of this, what's the big takeaway for us? How can we actually apply these secrets in our own lives? Well, it all boils down to a pretty simple, actionable blueprint. First step, visualize your future. And don't just dream about it, write it down with total conviction. Second, live by a code. Figure out those simple, powerful principles that are going to guide you every single day. Third, give generously. Whether it's your time, your knowledge, your resources, invest in the people around you. And finally, you have to take action. Like Delakia says, doing something and failing is better than doing nothing at all. So that's where we'll leave it. Look, a 25-year plan can feel huge, maybe a little overwhelming. So let's forget about that for just a second. The most important step is always the first one. So the real question is this: what is the one goal, big or small, that you are going to take the time to physically write down today?